All right, welcome. I'm in yet another hotel in yet another country and yet another city, and we're here to talk about Beyond and other things. Join us.
Dom Kirby, Matt Lee. The game.
What's up, everyone? Happy Wednesday, and welcome to the game on Pax8 Live. We've been doing this on Wednesday since a little after this time last year, and I still keep wanting to say Friday, but I digress. Welcome to the game on Wednesday on Pax8 Live. We have a different show. We're going to talk about Beyond because Beyond's coming up really fast, and every time someone tells it to me, I just remember how much stuff I got to get done for Beyond. But nonetheless, it's coming. We're going to talk about it. We're going to look at the security track. We're going to look at guided growth. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Join us in the comments. And let us know if you're coming to Beyond. If you've been there, you know that Matt and I walk about 15 holes into the floor throughout the event. But you'll catch us somewhere in the massive venue that is the Gaylord. So let's bring on Matt. Let's get started.
Yeah, man, I think of Beyond as like my annual weight loss program. You just
Pretty
go,
much.
go, and go and go. I do want to talk about Beyond, and I'm going to get passionate. I already got a hand going. I don't know if you saw that, but I already got a hand going. So I'm going to get passionate about this. But
I just
before,
heard,
I really
though, that
wanted
there
to
was a
talk.
study
Yeah,
of TED
go.
Talks and hand talking is good. So
Well, man,
we
then
should
boy,
we
do
should
I
do
do a,
more
a
hand talking.
smidge of it. Yeah, just a smidge. Yeah, on a stage, it's dangerous to be anywhere near me, right? In a good conversation. I do want to talk about Beyond to the point, but before that, I want to get into something that's been a program that's kind of been kicked around, has been started and kind of stopped, and getting growth and moving forward. And I'm super excited about it. And you and I put together a little video of our words, and again, a lot of hand talking. Potentialists, jump to that video real quick, and then we'll come back and talk about what that program is.
To understand what guided growth is, you first have to understand the changes that are happening in our world. We've gone from almost no security events affecting small to mid-sized business in the same way that we see today to it being an everyday occurrence.
Guided growth is really built to pull you through a journey that starts where you are and meets you at a place where you can get the right training, choose the right products, and build mature operations.
You can understand how to protect yourself and your clients, but how to actually go through it, how to sell it, how to price it, how to structure it, how to support it, how to be able to deal with it operationally. Guided growth is a program that is meant to help you as an MSP walk through those challenges. The first step is really to get in and get an assessment. Try to figure out where you are in that journey, and then start taking those custom courses that come from that are the tracks that help you succeed as an entity.
In the Pax8 Academy, we have 3 separate tracks to help you get started on your cybersecurity journey. We've got a track for sales and marketing professionals, for owners and practitioners, and for those who will actually run a security practice within their MSP. Start where it makes sense for you, and you can start working through all the tracks as they make sense. Your credibility is on the line when you offer technology, and we at Pax8 are here to ensure you're offering secure technology that makes your customers successful.
All right, security guided growth. It's a program we've really been chewing on. Matt, you and I really quickly made hours and hours of content. Um,
Yeah.
it was interesting. It's a lot of fun. And it's really we're trying to get to a spot where there's a consistent journey. I hate the word journey, but that's what it is. It's a journey we
It's
can
always
pull you
a journey.
through, and skill you where you need or want to be skilled. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man. So I came to Pax8 because when I left Iconic, about to be Integris at the time, I had already believed that marketing was crap. The traditional marketing, the things we do to help people buy a product is crap. It's hyperbolous. It was often filled with lies and half truths and half understandings. And so I wanted to come on and push the understanding of empowerment and enablement and education. Along the same time, Rex come along and are driving that in the same way. And people have self-selected to be part of partner groups and peer groups and other pieces with direct coaching. But like everybody has a common challenge. Even when I was at Iconic, it was being able to sell and deliver cybersecurity and transition from being a break fix or regular block hours or regular traditional MSP, of the new model definition, even with VCIO services, to that of having a more security focus and combating the, well, what about this? Or why aren't you already doing these things? I thought you were already doing it. And so I think the biggest vision of this, and I know you're involved deeply in this and what the whole plan is this is part of the empowerment side, right? Giving them paths or tracks to your point of learning the things you want to skill up in, but at the same time you have this push towards, can we help them market it? Can we help them sell that? Can we? There's other things to come that are just amazing parts of that as this continues to grow. But
Well,
yeah, it's going to be good.
and let's get super transparent, right? If you've ever seen a job posting for Pax8, in there it says ESUs, right? Or ISOs. They're ISOs, they're not ESUs. You and I are shareholders of Pax8. So we're very, like, we have a vested interest in you buying more stuff from us.
Accurate.
But, but what I
Yeah.
really like when we go down the guided growth track is that it's a representation of a broader understanding in the company that if we teach you how to do the right thing, right, and empower you to achieve that, empower your business to grow, empower you to deliver what you're selling, you're naturally going to need more stuff. That's just how it works, right? A
Accurate.
surgeon needs a new scalpel. So
Yeah.
it's really this aligned incentives conversation, and I think that's what's cool about this program as it evolves.
Well, and you say aligned incentives, and I know you just like to trigger me, but Rob Reck, our chief trust officer, but also just a well-known security mind in our world. He defines trust the same way that I've now co-opted and defined trust, which is right, a one-to-one say-do ratio. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and I think we both prove that day after day. But second, if we are going to fail, which humans do fail, we're going to have the hard conversations first, right? And the last piece of it, and I like to joke about this, like, last piece is aligned incentives. You can probably fake the first two. You could do a decent enough job of not saying a lot or being ambiguous about what you said you're going to do. There are things you could do to manipulate the first two and be possibly able to do that. The third one's aligned incentives, and you cannot fake aligned incentives for long,
Right.
right? Like if my job's to kill you in a spy v spy game, and I'm your best friend, I'm not really your best friend. Like at the end of the day,
Right.
I have to finish my task. It's not going to be ever that you can trust me. Yeah, I want some soup, Matt. That sounds great. Why does it smell like almonds? Anyways, right? So it's not going to work. Anyways, but I do like that aligned incentives, and that's what's great about Pax8. To your point, is like if we just empower you and bring you good products and help drive the market to be better in the way that it is, then everybody benefits. So, anyways,
Yeah.
okay, to what is about to be the next 20 or so minutes of our conversation, Beyond. Um, this is Beyond number 4. Technically, it's the third one in the United States, right? There was one in Berlin last year, but this is Beyond 1, 2, and now 3 in a place that I'm fairly certain the building engineers have to come out every year and recertify the floor in the upper in the
It's,
upper
it
main
was it was
rooms because
tricky. It was tricky last year. Yeah.
if you
A
know,
lot
you
of people
know,
telling
right?
people to get out of the way.
Yeah. Well, and also just how packed it was, and everybody dancing and the room kind of shaking a little bit at the Gaylord, right? We've outgrown the Gaylord, I think, by this year for sure. And so who knows where it'll be next year? I think you had some conjecture though, right, Dom? Weren't you having a guess at where Beyond's going to be next
I
year?
keep hearing Joplin, Missouri. Yeah,
Joplin's
is our
pretty good
next
this time
stop.
of year. No,
Yeah.
Joplin sounds good. We'll like triple their populace, right? In the
Right.
town, and so I digress. But anyways, like 3,000 humans coming to Beyond. What are they coming about, Dom? Why are they coming? Why do you think people come to Beyond? I mean, we probably have the largest show now, if not really close, um, up there with
I think we're
the IT
creeping up
nations.
on it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we should have looked at the numbers. I think we're close though. I think Beyond is really special because it's so education driven, right? Like, look, it's a conference. It's sponsored by vendors.
yeah,
You're going to get sales pitches. You're going to visit booths, and you're going to get followed up with. But I think the breakouts and a lot of the keynotes even are really built around how we're going to help you succeed, and some of them are very tactical about actually helping you
yeah,
succeed. And I think that's different. You don't see that a lot of places.
yeah. I'll echo that. I mean, I have had. I don't like being in charge of the security track, but I also do. The downside about it is every single person you know that calls you a friend says, "Hey, can I get on stage? Hey, can you get me on stage? Hey, can I be on stage? I'd like to be on stage. It's gonna help if I can get on stage." And I love all of them. But what's great about Beyond is I felt the armor of being able to say, "No, I'm doing what I want to do from a professional and educational perspective, and any pressure from that, right?" So it's awesome.
Right.
So let's get into what the track is for Beyond, for the security track that you and I kind of have co-thought through this year, right? So, what do you want to start with, man? What's your favorite? We'll pop there.
I mean,
Put you on
hotcakes
the
and hot
spot.
takes is going to take the show away,
Okay,
right? Like,
let's just do it
it
then.
just
All right,
is.
hot cakes and hot takes. Let me get it pulled up here. It's on Tuesday morning. So if you are free and awake or conscious or at least recovering enough by Tuesday morning at 7 a.m., I think it is. We have a whole hour for this one, which is double what the normal sessions are. And it's a replay of last year. We've got some of the same characters coming back. I got to find it here real quick. Okay, breakfast panel. Yeah, so the title is Hot Takes and Hot Cakes, Wrong Answers Only, Breakfast Panel. It's hard to always have the right answers, especially early in the morning. That's why to kickstart day two, our panelists are giving wrong answers only for securing your MSPs and clients. You've probably heard clients say some of these things or have even said them yourselves. So this was a concept I made up last year. We did not expect it to do well. It was a 7 a.m. breakfast panel. It wasn't intended to be like super attended.
Right.
And every person was at a table. There were people standing around the back. We were at like 230 something humans in there. They weren't even taking badges, so we don't know how many humans were in there at that time. I think they'll probably be checking to see who shows up this time. But we got together and just answered everything the wrong way, and it was a cathartic, right? I don't know. It was just somehow let out the steam of every time that idiot client said something to you, and you're like, no.
That's the beauty of it. You get to have that humor and just in a way you're complaining about it, right? But it's more fun. And
Yes.
chairs were thrown. Like
Yeah, there
that
was a
that
there was
that
a
makes it
chair
even more
thrown. I
fun.
can't bring you that level
Yeah.
of passion this year, I don't think. But who's going to do it? It's me. It's you. Wes Spencer's our moderator. I guess I should mention that Wes Spencer from Empath and personal friend is coming to do a lot of these and moderate. And one of the themes that I wanted was y'all hear me talk a lot. I didn't want y'all to hear me talk. I wanted you to hear my themes and the talks that I wanted to put together and the people I wanted to come bring them. So I'm not presenting much on stage. I think you and I only have one presentation along with this panel
Yeah.
that we're actually presenting directly on. So, but yeah, the breakfast panel is going to be super fun. Phyllis Lee's going to join in. I bet Phyllis Lee is hilarious. We haven't had any testing yet on this panel, but if you don't know Phyllis Lee, 25-year, I think, or 27 years in the NSA, runs CIS, the head of the controls and all things that are mostly CIS on that side of the house, and just brilliant. She's not usually intentionally funny. And I think she's going to be hilarious. She lets
I think
loose.
it's
I
gonna
think
be
this is going to
yeah,
be like
it's
a
gonna be
moment
mad.
of catharsis. Yeah. So, all right, cool. Great call out. That's Jason Slagle's also joining us. Chris Roberts is also joining us. Paige Gross is also, Paige Goss is also joining us. This is going to be a raucous hour. We've got 5 or 6 topics to talk about, like vibe coding versus, giving away too much, but we're going to have some fun ones. It's going to be some delicious topics for us to get into. So, um, anyways, I digress. Let's see. What else we want to talk about, Dom? Get into, I think Chris Sessions a good segue. Let's see if we can get
Oh,
Chris's
we weren't
name
supposed
of
to
his
talk about
title.
that one.
Oh, we're not allowed to talk about that one.
Well,
I guess it
it
depends, right? Let's
depends
see
on
what
how
he
many
actually put
federal
his
agents show
title.
up.
Hold on.
So yeah.
Yeah. This title has been redacted. This is dependent on how many federal agents are in premises. Speaker Chris Roberts, hacker. If you don't know Chris Roberts, go look up Chris Roberts. You can look him up by Sid Dragon, SIDDRAGON. I think maybe there's not 2 D's in it, but Sid Dragon's his handle. Or just search United Airlines flight hacker, and you will probably find Chris Roberts.
Yeah.
He did get arrested by federal agents landing in, I think, LaGuardia after taking control of flight systems in a United airplane from the back of a television set or from the back of one of the TVs on the back of the. They weren't doing MAC address control. Ask him how he knows. But he was able to just plug straight into the Ethernet and get access to things he shouldn't have access to. This was many years ago, but still. But he's going to deliver a great talk. He's a keynote speaker, a friend of mine. I'd say a friend. I think he's adopted me. I don't come from the traditional security hacker world that he does, right? The OGs of our world, and he's allowed me to be in his sphere of influence, and he's helped me out at Beyond last year. He's coming back this year. He doesn't have anything commercially to gain from this, and so he's just coming to help educate, and it's going to be a blast. So I'm excited about whatever he brings. I don't even know what he's going to talk about. So this is the best part of this is, and I think that John, you've been to security conferences, right? Um,
Yeah.
does that resonate with that feel of a security conference?
It does. It does because well, it depends on the security conference, but let's talk like DEF
That's
CON or
fair.
Wild West Hack and Fest or those sort of like where
Yeah.
it's
GurCon,
it's just a
CornCon.
conglomeration of nerds and leaders and professionals, right? That are just like
Yeah.
we're all there to learn and we get to tinker with stuff, we get to break stuff, we get to hear stories. And yeah, you do get sessions that are like, I don't know, like, but it seems
Yeah.
cool, so we're gonna go. Like,
Yeah. It was one of the talks I did watch of Chris's that I asked him to use the title again was depends on how many feds are in the audience. I think this was at DEF CON maybe, or was it GERCON or something? And anyways, it's interesting. The jokes are there, but in the traditional hacker community, there often was a blending, or is, I suppose, a blending of federal authorities and people wanting intelligence that on all sides of the fence. It was interesting, not to get off on too far of a tangent, but when he was being interviewed for Darknet Diaries just recently for the gentleman that stopped the what was the malware? WannaCry, the guy that stopped
oh, Marcus,
WannaCry.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Marcus, whatever his last name was.
Hutchins.
But anyways, when he was talking about this, he said he was being invited out early days of that to go to a lunch in a country just across the border, like literally 2 miles, right? Like downtown to downtown type
Right.
across the border. And he's going to meet these guys for lunch, and they just wanted to talk to him about what he had done, what he had found, and some guy out of the crowd just taps on them. You don't want to go with those two guys. Those two are national agents or foreign national agents of the intelligence service of the country across the border, and they just want to kidnap you as soon as you get across the border. Then the guy walked away. So, like, to the extent of level of ingrainment and being around and aware of what's happening in the hacker community. Anyways, getting off on a tangent, but yeah, so I wanted to let this just kind of be more like that. And I would encourage you, if you haven't gone to hacker conferences and gone to some of these to get experience around what that feels like, and you're a practitioner, it's going to be very, very, um, it'll make you find your people, probably, is the high likelihood of that. And it's really interesting. So
And
I'm
they're
trying
all
to bring some of that
extremely
feel to this
welcoming.
security track.
It's there's
Yes.
very little elitism in that in the community, right? It's very
From people
welcoming.
that have
It's
a lot
very
of
like, oh,
skill.
you're new at this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. All right, so there's the Chris Roberts track. That's on Monday in the afternoon. I think that's in the 3 to 3:30 slot, right? So he's got 30 minutes to talk about what he wants to talk about. What else do we have? Let me go. I'm just going to go to my loop. It's probably easier to get there.
I think
But
Paige's session will be interesting,
oh yeah,
right? If you
that's going
don't
to be
know
great.
Paige
Yep.
Goss, that she runs a sizable pen testing uh, organization operation, and she does it for mid and int, but she's also getting more into SMB, and she's really talking about what is a penetration test, and I'll sum it up as why you're probably not qualified to do a penetration
Yeah.
test. And I think it's valuable learning to understand what the difference is between vulnerability tests and penetration tests, and some of the different nuances that go into that, and why you cannot buy a $99 pen test. This is not a thing.
That's accurate. Yeah. So it's called "You Aren't as Good as You Think: Why You Shouldn't Do Your Own Pen Testing." Right, and exactly delves into that. And she's going to break down the financials aspect. Wes Spencer is going to moderate that. Rick Boehm is their chief security officer. He's also going to be involved in having conversation in that of kind of what it takes and what you should be doing and how you should actually move forward. And we'll get into what the call to action is out of that as well. I'm also super stoked by who our keynote kickoff for the security track is too. You have any idea of who this human is by chance there, Dom?
No, no.
It is Phyllis Lee. She is going to come in and talk about how a lot of the same things that I talk around frameworks and how they're changing. CIS does a lot of data collection about that, about the states that are doing legislation around, lawsuits, the qui tam lawsuits and things that we're dealing with. But she's going to come in and kick it off and talk about how frameworks will help you with your business. I know that it seems like that might be redundant and that this might have all been heard so many times, especially from people that are following this show potentially. But there's still a lot of people that aren't following frameworks. I still ask people in crowds every day, how many of you are following a framework? And there's so many people that never raise their hand. A grand majority of those audiences do not. So we're going to start it off with the why you should follow a framework by Phyllis Lee. Phyllis Lee, like I said earlier, lots of years in the NSA, lots of years at CIS, brilliant, 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 brilliant human, and also a really good speaker as well. So I think that's going to be a wonderful kickoff for that. So we've covered the why you shouldn't be a pen tester. We're also going to get into another bit of regulatory, or actually in this case, contractual nuance here with Bobby Guerra, right? Big congratulations to both Bobby, Kylie, and Adam, as well as Lawrence Christiana. We're going to bring in two MSPs. That's two. If a plane hit and took out the Gaylord that day, we would have almost all the MSPs that have passed their level 2 assessments in the world collectively taken out. So there's a little fear there from a risk perspective. But we're going to get Joy Beeland to talk about the why you should either now blank or get off the pot when it comes to CMMC and your client, and why you are rushing headlong into yesterday's execution if you don't move forward and start taking this seriously. Especially if it's even just execution by your own revenue, right? Of your clients leaving. But we're going to
Right.
hear from them
Right.
what made them successful and why you should run away if you're not committed. I think Bobby, when he first told me how many hours he put into his first SSP, just cumulative hours that were tracked in his PSA. Any guess what the first iteration of getting an SSP was, Dom? In hours? In hundreds of hours?
Like 275.
It was in the 300 range, if I remember. Just literally the first
Okay.
pass at taking a look at all the gap analysis, all the things that need to be dealt with, the assessment objectives, what are the things they can or can't do, what systems, all of that is just huge. And so I'm going to let him tell it in his and
Well,
Adam's
they're
own
taking it
words.
serious. Just ask Georgia Tech.
Oh, Georgia Tech's a good one, right? Ongoing lawsuit, I think. No, settled. Yeah, settled. I think there's, or
Is
maybe
it
still
settled?
ongoing. I don't think it is.
I
Maybe
don't
it's not.
remember.
It's still ongoing. I had to pick a B out
It's
of
pretty
graphics
young.
to be on there for one of the slides I made the other day. So I know it's still relevant and hadn't settled as of like 2 months ago when I researched this last. But maybe it has since then. I don't know.
So the
Okay.
the
Yeah.
production team is
Go.
telling me we have a question in the chat, but I have failed and I
Oh,
didn't pull up the chat. I don't even know what
I
the
didn't
question
either.
is, but let's bring it up.
Somebody want to plop
So
that up and we'll figure it out. Maybe they're just making fun of us. You know. Oh, my thing's in the way. Oh no, can you read it, Dom?
oh, I cannot. There's a little bar in the way. Oh, this is
Yeah, our bar is in the way. What are the key cybersecurity challenges MSP should prepare blank for all your sessions at Pax8 Beyond? Dang, I hope I got the relevant part. Can somebody give me that in my ear from the studio
there it goes.
team?
What are the key
Oh,
cybersecurity
good.
challenges MSP should prepare for in 2025? And
Oh,
how will your sessions at Pax8 Beyond address them? I don't think they've
you and me
changed
first,
much.
Dom. Yeah, they're getting more
Like
poignant, but I don't think they've delted.
they're getting more poignant, but we're still all dying the same way, right? And that's like every time I make a deck, I find myself reusing the same couple of slides to address.
Yep.
Please, for the love of God, install a lock on the front
I
door, right?
I will say nuancedly, more and more, I think you'll be held accountable for not
Hmm.
being able to show what you did for your client. Lawrence is going to talk about shared responsibility matrices. I talked about shared responsibility matrices at RSA, and so I think that session with Lawrence, the why you should run for the mountains, is a great that point, because I believe the challenge really is that, let's say you're selling anti malware, and someone goes through an incident somewhere, right? And that was last year, let's say. And you decided it was just an incident, everything was good, no problems, and then it becomes larger, and you find out it was a breach X months later, whatever that might be, right? And now you're dealing with either contractual or lawsuit, civil type things that you're dealing with, whatever it may be. And someone says, "Can you show me proof that you had EDR on all those machines a year ago, or 6 months ago, or whenever the event was, when it finally comes to this four-door aspect of this, or this investigation, I suppose."
I mean, like
And
yesterday
so
even. Like,
yeah. Can you show me a historical state on where you were and the gaps and so the point is like, if you're selling products and you haven't thought about or talked about the shared responsibility of, am I keeping those logs? Are you keeping those logs? Am I doing this and actually managing it for you on an ongoing basis for the 7 years that you need to maintain it for whatever your contractual or regulatory obligation may be? Those are things where I think MSPs have been selling things they can't prove they were operational in, and can't prove that they were even skilled to do it. I think that's the second death of how many of you are still running an EDR and don't have somebody doing MDR or some kind of threat feed or some other externalization of something to take action. And I don't mean that to cause any negativity. I just mean, if you aren't, then you need to have all the capabilities of delivering it and being able to prove you've met a reasonable level of delivery of what you said you were delivering. I think there's a consumer safety moment coming in a lot of these things
and
where
there was
you are harboring more risk. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, side tangent.
Yeah, and there is a lawsuit in California, and I stopped following it, and I shouldn't have. It could be pretty landmark, but essentially, MSP saw event, miscategorized event, um, didn't document well, and is now in the crosshairs. It's between the particular vendor that was involved in this MSP and this client who happens to be a law firm, and law firms tend to be good at discovering stuff. So that has been shaking out, and that speaks to exactly that, right? There wasn't
Yep.
sufficient documentation around how they came to a decision they came to, that it wasn't an incident, it was just an event.
Well, and this question, thank you for the question. It's awesome, by the way. I think Jay
Yeah.
Wilkes something. But thank you for the question. The I have a session. I guess maybe this gives me a great segue into our session, Dom. I've been doing a new modality lately where I encourage groups and practitioners, potentially like yourself, to look at a breach of a modern, well known, well written breach. So, one of the ones I start with usually is the 2022 Talos write up of the Cisco breach of November 2022. So, we're only talking 2 years ago, I guess, now at this point, but it's still the same basics today. But what we do is we get together and read the articles, several articles to understand what's released, what the timeline probably is based on those release points, at least take some nuanced knowledge to guess some of that. And then put that all together and then go, okay, what probably failed? If Dom got MFA notifications for 3 days and didn't report them to me as a security team, I obviously didn't train him in 14.6 well enough for him to recognize a security threat. Right. I've obviously failed there. And so what we would do as a group is say, user not responding in 3 days means that they didn't adequately respond within a reasonable period of time to hundreds of MFA notifications. The failure. Well, then what's the fix? Being better at 14.6. And the point I bring this up is, Dom, you said it's still the same death every time. It's still the basics, right? And it's not being efficacious in the basics. There was a call to action just recently. I don't remember which CISO it was, but was talking about how much money do we spend on security assurance? We spend lots of money on
JP
security
Morgan.
budget to close gaps and to no, that was another landmark article. This was separate of the JP
Oh, you're
Morgan
right.
CISO, but this one's talking about like how much money are we actually spending on assurance? Assurance being, does it work? Did that bulletproof
Right.
vest stop the bullet when I shot it on that pig out there? Like that's assurance, right? We're getting down to real data of, did the pig survive wearing the vest after being shot or not? It's efficacy. And it's this question of, are we budgeting for efficacy? Are we budgeting to test to see if what we're doing works? And that goes into red teaming, that goes into pen testing, that goes into those other pieces. But the point is, obviously, all of those breaches failed because of efficacy, not intent. I'm not sitting here saying Cisco didn't intend to teach their people or that they didn't intend to set themselves up. I'm saying the efficacy sucked. And so we have this kind of growing movement of efficacy and discussion there. And I think the workshop we're going to briefly run through, because it's a 3-hour workshop, so we're only doing 30 minutes to teach people. But the method we're going to teach you, if you'll go back and practice that to the question asked in the chat, I think you'll be better at the basics, and that's the other piece that would help you guide down that point. And then the last kind of piece I want to talk about, and I don't think I've missed any sessions now, but the last piece I want to talk about is a panel that we're doing at the end, and it's with anybody that's still there and wants to be in it. I think right now we have, I think, 6 people that are going to do it. I'm not going to do it, and they're going to answer 2 questions. One is, how'd you get started in cyber? Right? I think Chris Roberts started with a rifle in the SAS before he went that way. Dom, you might have a very interesting beginning story of your own, of how you got started in cyber. And then the second question is, if you could share one thing with an MSP serving the SMB, those below what Wendy Nather calls the cybersecurity poverty line. If you could share one thing with them, what would it be? Right? And no, Dom, don't suck is not acceptable. You're gonna have to get a little more granular in
Oh,
your answer than
let's
that.
put work
So,
into this. All
uh,
right. All right. I'll bring a notebook. We'll be ready.
yeah. But I hope that answered your question in the chat. Thank you for taking the time to ask it. I hope we kind of tackled a couple of them. But really, I think all of them guide you down a journey that I was hoping you'd take. I'm sorry to say the word journey again, Dom, today, but um, of this understanding of, it's really time to make a decision of what I want to do. There's a convergence of our worlds, and the security piece is a real challenge. Yeah. Anyways, any other questions from chat?
Let's
Do I miss
pitch.
anything
Let's
else
pitch
from the
one
team?
more thing while we check the
Okay.
chat. The CTF. Let's talk through that really quick. You're gonna
Oh,
get.
oh
I
man.
think you're gonna get a
You're talking
ping
about our
about it,
secret
and perhaps
bootleg. Oh,
the bootleg
yeah,
CTF. We're
yeah.
working with folks. We're gonna be adding some flags to it, but I just want to tell you where to go. So right now you can't register for it, and we've decided not to do a registration like secret or code because distributing that sounds like a nightmare. So you're going to go to beyond.ctfd.io, and we'll probably open that up for registration. Matt, I'm thinking like Saturday, just so people can get in and make an account and get through that hump. The actual CTF, if you're going to participate, which I think you should, that'll open Sunday. I think we're going to open it around noon. So if you're getting in, you come in, get familiarized, do a couple of the simple
Yeah.
forensics flags, get comfortable with the platform. And then it's off to the races. We've got prizes. We're dreaming those up. The Microsoft team. I keep hearing
Will be
rumors on
challenges as you
Xbox.
solve them. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So you should definitely check that out. And I just want to point out though, if you win, you got to be present to win because we're not locking down registration. I got to know you're actually there before you get it. So you do
Yep.
have to be present at the last booth
If
time
you want your
to
prizes.
win.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
but do it for fun if
Um,
you don't care about
if
the
you wanted to do it
registration.
for fun, join in, have fun. We're going to get that
Yeah.
going. So I think we said we had maybe another chat, another question, another message in chat. No? Ah, okay. Sorry. We're good.
Cool.
I misunderstood. Well, what a great way for me to close it out and being traditional Matt Lee here. But yeah, I would encourage you to sign up for the security sessions and come join. I think they're live in the app now. They're appropriately named. The speakers are tagged in those as well.
I will be
Um,
doing an app challenge again this year. This will be my third app challenge. So I haven't decided what merch you're going to get, but there's going to be an app challenge. So
what's the app challenge?
I've done it every year. So I'll put a secret in my Beyond profile in the app. You gotta go find it and
Okay.
decrypt or decode it, whatever I do with it. And the first one
Oh,
to send it to me, I'll get you some Dom and Cyber Matt Lee swag, or I'll get you something.
super nice.
But you got to be in the app, or you're gonna get lost at the show. Just like I get lost at Beyond,
Yep.
and I'm with the host. So
Well, I will see you there, and it's been a great and had a good set of episodes, I suppose. And Dom, if you want to take us out, we'll go to the play of the game, and then we'll get out of this one.
all right, I'm gonna pass it right back. Matt, give us play the game.
That checks out. Okay, I just self-tossed to Dom, and Dom tossed it back to me. What's the play of the game? I think the play of the game is when you go to conferences, do you take the time to find the tracks that are the most successful for you? Do you take the time to lean in and learn what they are and how they're going to impact you, as we had in the question from the chat, right? Do you do those things so that you can make the most out of these conferences? I think to Dom's point, almost all of the sessions are created by Academy, by educators, by practitioners, by MSP owners, by people that are in this field. And you go to Beyond and miss all of that. I hope it's for really good hallway con and for really good relationships and things that are formed. But try to make sure you maximize it. And I would love to see you in our security tracks, and I would really love to see you in our CTF, because building skills and learning are the way you win in a commoditizing world and in a changing world. So go learn. Come join us at Beyond. And if you're not there, to Dom's point, be square.
Game over.
All right, be there or be square. Just a little bit more housekeeping. This is normally the part of the time where I'll tell you I'll see you at the same time, same place next week. But I will not. We are going to take a break because the studios team has to put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours into Beyond. And we're just coming up at that point where like wrangling Matt and I and trying to make Beyond work is just ridiculous. So we're going to take a break. We're going to get through Beyond. We're going to get resettled. And we will see you, we're thinking mid-July. So catch us in mid-July. Subscribe to the channel if you don't already. Like we should start asking the metrics of the whole like watch but doesn't subscribe. Just click the button. Just do it. But do look for us in July. And I'm sure because we have some time now, Matt and I will do some pirate streams on LinkedIn to get us through. With that in mind, we'll see you in July time at this place. We'll see you at Beyond.